I've been an East Fork collector for years, like a long time. And I've become internet friends with Connie and Alex, and I've been warming them up to the idea of a collaboration for I feel like I first mentioned this to you 2 years ago, maybe.
I love that you say that you're warming us up to the collaboration as if we needed to be warmed up. I remember when we wwere first, because you were big on Instagram, a long time ago, a very early adopter. And I remember the very first time you ever posted an East Fork thing was with a rainbow.
Oh, because I had every freaking color.
Yeah. Well, it was we had a rainbow when we were in I think in Isla's room.
Oh yeah, like an actual rainbow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a mug, and I was like, oh my gosh, Alex L is an East Fork customer, and I went to look at your shopping history and everything. I was very excited. So we didn't really need to be warmed up too much.
Well, now we're here.
Now we're here.
And I'm so grateful that y'all said yes to this. It just feels really aligned. The color matches the new book, How We Heal.
Dead on.
Dead on.
Yeah. It's a beautiful book.
Thank you.
Yeah. Even just to hold, I love the layout of it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice. Sipping from your nourishing cup, reading a nourishing book.
Reading a very nourishing book.
So why did we choose Handleless?
Why did you choose Handleless?
I don't know. But I love it.
Now that we're sitting here with it.
I love it. I love that we can cup it. And when I do this with the mugs that I have that don't have handles, I think about what Thich Nhat Hanh says about intentionally drinking your tea, holding it with both hands. Sorry, my phone is going off. But just being mindful and intentional about sipping tea, sipping coffee. He doesn't say coffee. I'm just putting that in there. But it just, I don't know. I really wanted this to feel nourishing, feel like a meditation, feel like, dare I say, like a prayer to ourselves of just being grounded and nourished. And blue is such a tranquil color. And I just feel like it just works. It works.
I think it does. I mean, I think that the kind of age-old coming together of hands, especially when you're thinking about nourishing, bringing your hands together and putting them out and expecting that they're going to be filled with something.
I love that.
Yeah.
So tell us about this color, because this was a retired color that y'all brought back just for this.
This was a retired color. This is a color that we called Malibu that we made probably the first time 5 years ago, and actually called it Malibu because that's where I grew up in Los Angeles, and my dad and I used to go surfing together before school. Sometimes we did not live near the beach. Would drive over the hill from the valley to go surfing and then come back to school. And that was just my absolute calm, peaceful place. And there's this color is just it just is so grounding and so calm and soothing. We put a picture of the cup in the we put a few pictures that you sent, and everyone was like, that's the most soothing color I've ever seen.
It is.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it too. Your word for the year is nourishing.
Yeah.
Nourish.
But all iterations.
All iterations.
Nourished, nourishing, nourishment, nurture, all the things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what are some things that have been extra nourishing for you?
Not being on a book tour.
Not being on a book tour.
Not traveling. This is my first time traveling in a few weeks when I was literally traveling back to back. Sleeping in has been feeling really good. Not having anything to do feels nice. The other day I had a meeting canceled and I squealed. Yeah. Because I didn't want to have the meeting
anyway. There's a theme here. So sitting still, being alone.
Being still is nourishing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels good to not be doing much in this season, for sure. Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. Very strongly. And I pick a new word every year. So 2 years ago it was clarity. Last year it was ease, and this year is nourish. And it just feels good to kind of be clear and feel easeful, and also feel deeply nourished by both of those things. Yeah.
So you have been making some pottery.
I have. I'm very bad at it.
I bet you're not.
I am.
Yeah, okay, I believe you.
But it's very fun.
Okay, I'll believe you.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
You don't have to be good at everything you do.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I'd take classes with my oldest. She's 15.
That's so sweet.
And she's an artist, and I wanted to make sure that she was able to use a bunch of different mediums to express her creativity. So we would go after her therapy sessions every Wednesday. And now we just go kind of whenever. We've become family with the studio, and we're like, we're coming by. Is there any openings? And it's just been really nice to do that. She throws 9 pounds of clay.
That is so much clay.
So much. She loves big pieces.
Yeah.
And she's so good at them.
That's
I
so
make
beautiful.
little like wonky pots. I showed you some.
They're sweet.
And it's fun. I like the wheel because I have to relinquish control. Like, centering is the bane of my existence. And also, just our teacher's always like, this is a meditation. Slow down. And he's a master potter. He could he centers things in like 3 seconds. He's pulling it up. He's going down. And then you have a teapot. And I'm like, how?
It's so magical to watch someone who's really good at it. Yeah.
And he's like, you have to slow down.
Yeah.
And so it's a reminder to slow down for both of us. My daughter and I both have anxiety and OCD. And so like, there's really no room for that in pottery because we have to find ways to self-soothe through the imperfection. So it's just, I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah, there's so many of those practices for, same with anxiety. And I found that like when I incorporate practices that require 100% of your focus and attention so that you just really have no more space for thoughts, it's like a little brain break where you're using your brain, you're so focused on the thing in front of you, but there's like less room for chitter chatter that's like so
unhelpful.
Yeah, I think climbing. And when you're climbing, it's like you got to pay attention to your hands and your feet, and that's it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, clay's fun. It is fun. Well, I have always I've admire you so much, but I think you're in so many ways so opposite from me, or like I think that we have some core similarities for sure, but the way that we show up in the world is pretty different looking. And one thing I really like to watch from afar, I'm not, and you can say if this is wrong, but I know that you are writing is just like a huge part of your practice. You write daily at least? Or?
I at least try.
Yeah.
But lately I haven't been.
Really?
I mean, and I think that's because I just finished this book. And I ran out of words.
That's so beautiful, though.
But about time, okay? Because
I've had a lot of words over the past 10 years, and
it feels good to not be thinking about what's next, because then it gives me just space to be creative on my own. So I've been drawing, I've been watercoloring, and I have been trying not to make sense of things. And writing requires, I mean, I teach writing, I write books, and it's different when it becomes your job. I mean, just like we were talking with Alex, and I'm like, do you ever just go sit at the wheel anymore? And he's like, rarely.
Yeah.
Right? So when something becomes your job, there is going to be some space. But then when we get back to it, like for our own personal practice and pleasure, it's like, oh, this is why I love this thing. This is why I do this thing out in the world.
Yeah, it's something I warn people about a lot because we get a lot of questions from people who want to start small businesses, and they watch us do what we're doing, and I'm like, you have to really think hard if you want the thing that is your pleasure practice and the thing that like lets you escape from the stressors of life to become the thing that will be your number one life stressor. And I think it's really something that like millennials have had just like this disservice where we've been told by everyone that like, quit your day job, follow your dream, follow your bliss. And there's just like, I think that was really bad advice that our generation got. And like, what if you did something that could help pay your bills and then you had something that was pure and protected from capitalism?
That's exactly how I feel about pottery.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's asking, can I buy that? I'm like, no. You can have it, though.
This is not a commerce
situation. I'm not shipping pots. But I give it away. I give pottery away all the time. And it's like, I don't want this to become something that I sell. This is my personal practice.
Market it.
No.
Yeah, they're really different things. Well, that's interesting that you said, though, about having no more words to say, because I also consider myself a writer, but all of my writing has been for Eastfork for the past 12 years. And so I have lots to say that has not had time to go on a page. And I think it shows up in me, like when I do have like a platform to or when someone gives me a microphone, I'm like, oh, are you sure you want to pass that to me? Because I've got a lot of words that need to come out.
Yeah.
And I like when I'm around you and when I watch you from afar, you can tell that there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, because when you show up in a space, the words that come out of your mouth are really intentional and you say what you mean. And I think it also means like you have to say fewer words to get your point across.
That's what I've learned in this healing journey. Say less.
Say less. Yeah, I'm not there yet, but I see that that's a destination.
But I think I have wasted so much language trying to be understood, you know? And it's like, the older I get, the less I want to do that. I just want to be nourished and clear and easeful. So when I turned 30, I made sure, I was like, okay, I need to shift how I'm showing up, because there was a lot of childhood trauma coming to the surface when I turned 30. That was 3 years ago. I'll be 34 this year. And I'm like, I just want to be really clear with like how I feel. I want to feel nourished in my relationships, and I want to nourish the relationships I have, not only with others, but with myself and my, children. And how do I do that without over talking it? My husband's like, you don't have to over talk it, because I'm an over talker sometimes. He's like, just say what you mean and keep going. Yeah, that's hard.
Alex always used to say, maybe you should stop and think, does it improve the silence? And at first I'd be like, what? Oh, are you trying to silence me?
But
I was like, okay,
that's a meditation.
Helpful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Does it? A friend of mine said to me, breathe before you talk to anyone. And I use that especially with my kids, because sometimes I'll be like,
yeah. Sometimes all it takes is that extra pause to make a different choice.
Yeah. But I've been an Eastfork customer for years, as I mentioned, and to be given a tour of this operation, I am floored. I feel like everyone on the team is a magician and has so much patience and so much intentionality, and just seeing everyone work together to bring these vessels to the world is wild.
It's a lot of teamwork.
It is. Teamwork makes the dream work times 1,000. And to see you and Alex interact, and this is just I am so excited.
Oh,
this is wonderful. Yeah, y'all are great. Should we cheers?
We should cheers.